Good morning, Your Excellency Pom Seok Kim, First Vice Minister of Economy and Finance of Korea, Axel van Trotzenberg, Senior Managing Director of the World Bank, IDA 21 Independent Co-Chair Sheikhu Sesay, IDA borrower and donor representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen in the room and online. Greetings to you all and welcome to the final replenishment meeting and pledging of IDA 21 live here in Seoul, Korea. My name is Kelly Park, your host for this opening session, and it is with great honor to stand before you at this pivotal moment celebrating the IDA 21 replenishment journey. Now, before we proceed, can we have another big round of applause to our 10-year-old Yeona Kim for the marvelous performance? Thank you. What extraordinary talent to behold. Now, Yeona Kim is a very gifted and talented violinist, winning numerous international competitions. Now, she became famous after her impromptu performance with a famous YouTuber in Rome, which went viral all around the world, gaining millions of views, leaving people in awe. So it's definitely a very inspiring way to start this historic day. Thank you very much, Yeona Kim. And yes, it is a very historic day today because the investment we make today will determine the collective future, determine the world that Yeona Kim and her generation will inherit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this room wields enormous power to make bold decisions that will benefit all of us at home and abroad, and it is all in your hands. Now, it is also a day to celebrate the transformational impact of VIDA and what we have achieved. Now, to begin today's meaningful occasion, it is with great honor to invite Korea's first Vice Minister of Economy and Finance, His Excellency Phom Seok Kim. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Good morning. I would like to extend my gratitude to Senior Managing Director Axel van Trotsenburg, Co-Chair Sheikh Sambadin Sosei, and representatives from member countries for joining this IDA 21 refreshment final meeting. I also want to thank the World Bank Group Seoul office, the IDA team, and everyone who worked tirelessly to make this meeting possible. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for your attending this meeting despite earlier events. Those events went through a peaceful and democratic process. Our economic and political status remains stable and will continue to operate without any disruption. I believe that the process of resolving earlier events is the evidence of Korean democracy's resilience. I can assure the safety of all participating delegations. Dear fellow representatives, since its establishment in 1960, IDA has served as one of the largest concessional resources supporting low-income countries. Pressing global changes like climate change, conflict, and food security demand a more proactive role from IDA. At this crucial juncture, hosting this final meeting in Korea holds special meaning for us. Korea began its journey with IDA as a recipient country in 1962. At that time, Korea was struggling in the aftermath of the Korean War, and the IDA provided $160 million. With that support, Korea was able to build infrastructure such as railways and highways, laying a strong foundation for national development. Today, Korea has become one of the world's advanced economies. This inspiring story is recognized by the World Bank as a growth superstar and required leading for developing countries. Korea's development journey exemplifies IDA's vision and values for shared prosperity. With the vision of becoming a global pivotal state, now, Korea strives to take a leading role in tackling global issues such as eradicating poverty and addressing climate change. I look forward to seeing more inspiring stories made possible through robust and impactful IDA support. With this unique experience in economic development and innovation, Korea stands ready to strengthen our cooperation with the World Bank to support developing countries. During the G20 summit in November, Korea announced a 45% increase in its contribution to IDA. High interest rates and supply chain disruptions are making the global economic landscape even more challenging for many countries, including Korea. Even amid these difficulties, Korea's contribution reflects our steadfast support for AIDA and its successful replenishment. This also demonstrates our determination to return to the support we received in the past. I truly hope that Korea's commitment will lay the foundation for active participation and contribution from fellow member countries in this final meeting. Dear fellow representatives, to ensure robust and impactful AIDA support, we need more than just ambitious replenishment. How well-designed policies is equally important. Throughout intense discussions this year, we agreed on 25 policy commitments of AIDA under the vision of ending poverty on a reliable planet. Today, I would like to recommend 3 pillars that can serve as the foundation for AIDA's future policy directions. The first is to ensure AIDA's performance orientation. The limited resources must be used where they can have the greatest effect. The shift from an output-based to an outcome-centered scorecard is a welcome change. At the same time, AIDA's performance-based allocation can further incentivize the reforms in recipient countries. These reforms can break through in efficient systems and practices, successfully transforming countries into high-income economies. The second is to preserve AIDA's sustainability. Through AIDA's unique funding mechanism, each dollar from donors can turn into $4 in support. The backbone of this multiplying effect is in AIDA's AAA credit rating, and preserving it is of utmost importance. We must work together to strike a balance between taking an active role in tackling global changes and maintaining the financial sustainability of the AIDA. Third is to ensure partnership-based AIDA. The United Nations has reported that the global development finance gap has increased from $2.5 trillion pre-pandemic to $4.2 trillion today. The massive demand cannot be met by public resources alone. In view of this, I welcome the expansion of AIDA's private sector window, which will further mobilize private resources. As one World Bank group, close cooperation between AIDA, IFC, and MIGA will help open channels for private capital to flow into development efforts. Deepening partnerships with civil society, philanthropists, and other MDBs is important. Expanding the donor base is also crucial, and Korea is committed to joining the hands in this effort. Fellow AIDA representatives, we are facing formidable global change such as climate change, conflict, and food security. Yet, I strongly believe that we can rise to meet these challenges together. With AIDA's invaluable asset, which is 65 years of experience, knowledge, and networks, combined with the cooperation of fellow member countries, I am confident that we can deliver stronger and more impactful support. As we begin this two-day meeting, I look forward to a successful refreshment that demonstrates our strong commitment to overcoming global change together. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, His Excellency First Vice Minister Kim, for the thoughtful remarks highlighting the importance of this occasion and the power of global cooperation as we embark in this journey together. Thank you very much for your dedication and support. Now, the significance of being here in Seoul cannot be overstated. The film that we're about to watch will educate us a little bit more about the extraordinary transformation that this country has undergone within a space of one lifetime. The transformation that has been supported by AIDA.
Of course, we need to keep developing, but I guess most important thing is that we should make sure the next generation always have confidence that tomorrow is better than today.
My past generations' dedication and sacrifices really made a difference for me personally and also for the Korea's economy. I had an access to a quality education. I could study abroad, having an opportunity to look around and broaden my perspective, where at that age my grandmother had to go to work. So I'm really grateful that they opened up the opportunities for me, what I have now, where I am.
From the 1960s on, we changed to outward-looking policies. So we begin to grow our export. You don't have any infrastructure. And the first infrastructure I remember was probably a Gyeongin Expressway from Seoul to Incheon, which is our export harbor, and dams to provide the clean water. Most of those things are in support by the World Bank. Whenever we have a visit from World Bank, they were often taken straight from the airport to the Blue House. So the president himself wanted to listen to their advices.
The support from the international cooperation wasn't just a financial one, I think. It was more of an investment in the future of Korea. I think the international organizations like IDA played a key role in economic development of the Korea, especially the early years when they had a really challenging moments.
Asian financial crisis, about half of the top 30 conglomerates went bust. Many banks are closed. People are losing their jobs. It fundamentally changed the Korean society. But then again, one thing that's really driving us all is the voluntary gold donation. So people come up with their family jewels, trinkets. They just want to give their gold for the nation to avoid bankruptcy. The drive behind that is really very moving. There's this patriotism which comes from, even though it's not spoken, but unspoken belief that country's destiny and people's destiny are together. We are working together for the happiness of the progress of the country. When we really begin to feel we are becoming a prosperous country was 1988 Olympic Games. Olympic Games is a symbol. What happened is in 1986 to 1988, for those 3 years, somehow the stars got aligned at the time, so that our exchange rate was low, so our export really began to boom. And believe it or not, but it was only in 1986 we first have a first current account surplus. And then we have a 1980 Olympic Games. Those 30 years efforts finally began to pay off, and we performed very well at the games. So the host country advantage and with all the country's enthusiasm and momentum. And I guess that's the time shared by every Korean. Korea is now moved to different stages.
I think Korea's story shows how a clear vision of the government, commitment to education, and international support can achieve sustainable growth. Korea's story is exemplary, where from a war-torn nation, the country became a tech powerhouse. And also, in such a short time, the Korea transformed from the aid recipient to a donor country. I would love to see Korea use its advancements to empower other nations as well, with the sustainability and resilience mindset that we have. As a generation-wise, I want the society that appreciate the past generation's sacrifice and dedication, but also I want to make a positive legacy for the future generation as well.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, His Excellency Ambassador Kyung-wook Ho and Jeannie Park, for the powerful testimonial. It is clear what IDA represents and all of you are contributing to here today. Now, as the ambassador says, ensuring that the next generation can always have confidence that tomorrow will be better than today. Now, IDA represents a global cooperation at its very best because IDA recognizes that across the world, we are interconnected and intertwined, and the future of people and planet are bound deeply together. So to ground us in that vision, and before we start our next 2 days with technical discussions, the World Bank has invited Emi Mahmood, globally renowned poet, activist, and UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador, to reflect on the higher essence and impact of IDA on her new piece of work. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to Emi.
I've heard tales of the early famines in Sudan, when the saplings withered and the earth stood still and the food couldn't keep the cattle and the mouths of babes ran dry as the riverbeds. I heard the tales from our moms and dads, our aunts and uncles who lived to say, one day I ate, one day my neighbor. We weathered the storm together. Sawa, Hamke, all of us or none of us, our neighbors, where are they now? Can they not hear us? Can they not see us? Do they know about the sickness, the storms? Do they know about the hunger, the wars? In the darkest hour, who do we call to light the flame that brings the dawn? What is sunlight to a night that never ends? A new day. When I think of the future, I imagine my brethren before myself. I remember my sisters who lifted me up, who opened every door and closed not one behind them, how they triumphed against all odds, becoming more than this world ever imagined for them, from the walls of humble homes to the halls of Ivy Leagues. I remember the mountains, how they reached back as they climbed, how our hands grasped one another's, eyes locked as if to say, I've been where you are before. I will hold you up. I will not let you fall. Oye, listen, do you hear it? The pledge to hold one another in times of hardship, to lift one another in times of doubt, to transform lives, to light the flame that brings the dawn. Do you hear it? To our humanity, our resilience, to call for help and answer to the pledge, to our increased devotion to one another, this earth our home, every one of us a bringer of change. Each helping hand returns threefold, 1,000 futures just within our reach. The bridges of Bosnia, the hospitals in the heart of Kar, the books in Seoul, new homes in Nepal, the promise of peace in Sudan or the Congo or beyond. Disaster has never carved a wound that sisterhood couldn't mend, never brought a hunger that brotherhood couldn't feed, never torn a fissure that humanity couldn't heal. And today will be no different. Today our heads won't turn away, our eyes will only open, our hearts will only grow, our hands will only build. And when our children ask, what did we do to bring the dawn? What did we build to end the loss? We will bathe in the light of our togetherness and say, each other.
Wow, thank you, Emi, for those empowering words. It really hits home what the next 2 days are for. So you have heard her mention the sound of the pledge. We'd like to take this opportunity to recognize some of our donors who have come forward with their early pledges to set us up so well for today. So first out of the gate, back in September, was Denmark, who announced a 40% increase on their last commitment. Please give a big hand. Thank you, Denmark. And just this week, Croatia too announced a generous increase of 115% increase. Thank you, Croatia. And next, our host and my home country, Korea, has committed to build on their last pledge by a 45%. Thank you. Because we know how important and transformational IDA can be. Thank you once again. And Latvia has announced they are increasing their commitment by an enormous 60% increase. Thank you, Latvia. And now moving over to Norway too, announcing an increase of 50% on their last pledge. Thank you, Norway. And now going over to Poland, doubling their previous commitment. That is 100% increase. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now let us look at Spain, another country that has came early with a fantastic pledge, increasing their contribution by 37%. Thank you. And next is the United Kingdom, also announcing just last week a pledge of £1.98 billion over the next 3 years, a 40% increase. Thank you very much. And finally, the United States, pledging an increase totaling $500 million increase. Thank you very much. Another big round of applause to all of our countries for their early commitment and their leadership. Thank you once again. Now, your contributions has got us off this final meeting to a great start, and this is the spirit that we want to see over the next 2 days. Thank you very much for your contribution and support. And now to share more on the ambition for the coming days and more of the potential impact for the coming years, it is with great pleasure to welcome to the stage World Bank Senior Managing Director Axel van Trotsenburg. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Very warm welcome to all of you in the room, as well as all watching online. And it's good to start with this wonderful announcements. But it's also wonderful to be here at the final meeting of the IDA 21 replenishment. And I would like to extend my gratitude to the government of Korea for hosting us this event, and to First Minister Byum-seok Kim for being with us here in person. Thank you very much. Clearly, we are meeting under more difficult circumstances than we had originally planned for this meeting. But we are relieved that things have calmed down and that we can now turn to the purpose of the meeting, namely the finalization of the IDA 21 replenishment negotiations. To mark the occasion, we decided that we wanted to start this meeting in a different way, as you have noticed. It's namely with cultural performances and artists. From young Yona Kim's brilliant performance to the moving story of Korea's transformation to Amy's poignant poem, we see how the right investments in people creates ripples across generations. Over the next 2 days, we will be discussing this, how by working together we can leverage the incredible power of IDA to invest in the future of 78 low-income countries around the world. This is more than a pledging session. It's a testament to the enduring power of multilateralism and our collective belief that we are stronger together. We meet at a pivotal time. The world faces unprecedented, larger-than-life challenges, from climate disasters to conflicts, from poverty to pandemics. Yet in this room, I see unprecedented resolve and solidarity. I see it in the extraordinary early commitments from our donors who have demonstrated bold leadership with significant increases in their pledges in national currency despite challenging global conditions. This is the ultimate reflection of the domestic effort to secure funding to IDA. Of course, every contribution is leverage. Take $1 contributed, we'll be able to provide nearly $4 in mostly concessional financing to IDA countries, creating real measurable impact where it's most needed. This is value for money. Over the past year, we have appreciated our dialogue and exchanges with the IDA beneficiary countries, which have shared their development aspirations. And I just want to recall the summit in Nairobi to many individual and group meetings. And this has helped us to sharpen this package. But also, we have incredibly benefited from all the IDA deputies and their teams. And sometimes we need to give them a round of applause, because sometimes the IDA teams, we address always the IDA deputies, but there are teams behind them. So I think we should owe them a little applause, what they are doing. But this is just the beginning. Our decision this week will bolster IDA and strengthen its lifeline to countries in the years ahead. What does this mean in practical terms? It means helping 300 million people in Africa gain access to electricity in partnership with the African Development Bank and, of course, with the beneficiary countries. It means improving health service for 1.5 billion people, strengthening social safety nets for people facing recurring shocks, and leading the way in finance for climate adaptation, and many more things. As Amy's poem reminded us, and I quote, "Disaster has never carved a wound that sisterhood couldn't mend, never brought a hunger that brotherhood couldn't feed, never torn a fissure that humanity couldn't heal." This is IDA's promise, not just aid, but transformation, not just funding, but partnerships, not just resources, but results. We're engineering a better bank for a changing world, streamlining our operation and increasing our impact. And crucially, IDA puts decision-making in the hands of our clients and building capacity for sustainable development. The journey of our host country, Korea, from IDA recipient to donor, shows what's possible when we invest in human potential. Now it's our turn to help write the next chapter of this story for millions more. As we enter this discussion, here let's remember what's at stake, the lives we can transform, the future we can unlock, and the world we can build together. The pledges made in this room will send a strong signal to the hundreds of millions of beneficiaries in IDA countries that we stand in solidarity and shared commitment to work together. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Axel, for the wonderful remarks, as well as your leadership and support for bringing us together to forge towards a stronger partnership for a prosperous future. Thank you once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are feeling inspired, motivated, and empowered. Now, you have the incredible opportunity over the next couple of days to invest in our future prosperity, in education, in health, in infrastructure, all the critical human scaffolding that enables everything to succeed. You have the opportunity to benefit all of us and invest in people, in planet, and in resilience. Now, to play us out and bring a close to this opening session, I would like to once again invite our stunning violinist. To me, she represents the future of our promise. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Yeona Kim. Thank you, Yeona Kim, for that wonderful performance. Thank you once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the opening ceremony, and we will now hand over to our IDA 21 co-chairs to begin the technical